Hey, everybody. Welcome back to What I Wish You Knew About Your Wedding. I'm very excited. We're going to get into some wedding planner secrets here, tips. We're going to talk about venues out in Redlands with Shanee from Your Day, Your Way coordinators. And we're just excited to have her here. And so, Shanee, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I got to work with you recently. Extremely impressed with how you handled things, how you worked. One of the best planners I've come across. Just so professional, so on point, ready to go. I just really enjoyed working with you, and I'm super excited to have you here and talk about all these things. I'm really excited to hear your answers. We have all these great questions for you, but before we do that, why don't you tell everybody about yourself, what you do, how long you've been doing this? I know you do like so many weddings.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me here. And yes, I am the owner of Your Day, Your Way coordinators. We have been in business now for 9 years, coming up on our Big 10 coming soon, which by wedding numbers, we are almost at our 500th wedding, which I'm really proud of. When we started the company, very small company with just the three of us, but now we've grown into a larger organization. So we have about 28 team members that works with us.
Wow.
So I like to consider us to be a small business with big business mentality. Exactly.
Medium, maybe even.
Exactly. So we pride ourselves in doing things like onboarding training with our team members. We meet annually so we can get with one another, stay on the same page about our policies, procedures, but really to have a well-oiled and well-structured organization behind the scenes. Now, outside of working our events, I am all over the place behind the scenes in that I come from educational background. I have 3 degrees, 1 bachelor's, 2 master's degrees. So I love to study. Hence the reason why I love studying my brides, love studying my people, my culture, is just everything wedding related. And I also am a TV personality. So that started back in college. I started off with MTV's True Life, and I slowly but surely worked my way through new Lifetime shows. I was on Fox 11 on a talk show. I was recently on the Jennifer Hudson show to talk about my experience. Yeah. Exactly. So I have been all over the place. In other words, I'm not shy at all. That's why I love getting the crowds together, rallying people on wedding days. It works for me and my personality and just my outgoingness.
Yeah.
Our team is absolutely amazing. So typically every year we work on average about 70 to 80 weddings per year.
That's a lot.
Yes. So it keeps us definitely busy behind the scenes, but I can be honest in saying that I can't do that all by myself. So I give tons of credit to my team. They are truly my support system behind the scenes. And we're not just a typical team in that everyone that I choose, I'm very meticulous with my thought process. So I have other business owners that work with me. I literally have people with doctorate degrees that are on my team, but I truly have the cream of the crop that work with me so that we can really bring our experience, our knowledge to every single event that we personally work. So I am just out here living, enjoying life. I'm a stage 4 cancer survivor. So a lot of people wonder, hey, have you drank coffee? I'm not a coffee drinker at all. I'm just happy to be alive. I am naturally so excited to be alive every single day of my life. And I'm also a new author with an upcoming book that's coming out next month called Playing with Your Potential, the mindset shift from surviving to succeeding. So I am all over the place, but I do everything with love and with passion. And that's one thing that I truly try to translate into every single project that I actually am a part of.
Yeah. No, you know what? Like just, the way you present yourself and just the way your personality is and the way you speak and the way you talk, it's just, you could tell like the amount of confidence and experience you have, and it definitely shows. And, your story, like, it's like, I wish we had even more time to get into that, but I did, like, the cancer survivor, you got the book, like, all this, like, just all the stuff you've done, very talented, very intelligent, like, it's insane, all the stuff that you do and have done and have accomplished. So again, super happy, honored to have you here. And yeah, you guys, you guys, can you tell them where you're at, like on social media?
Yes, you can find me on social media at Your Day, Your Way coordinators. That's where you can find me on Instagram. If you go to TikTok, it's Your Day, Your Way 16. But we definitely have a powerful presence online. So come and check us out because we have quite a bit to take a look at.
Yeah, she has a ton of content, great content. You guys, you got to go check it out. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to get into the thick of it, and we are going to get into some very interesting questions that we have not have had answered on the show before, and they are all planner related, planner coordinator related. So we're gonna get right into it.
Okay.
And this one, I'm really curious to hear
Mm-hmm.
what you have to say or your opinion on this one, and that is, which vendors do you think you could do without? And you know what I mean? Like, which
Mm-hmm.
are there vendors that you think in this time and where we're at that couples can do without or skip out on, or do they need the full gamut, the full, like, everyone?
That's a great question. I like to categorize vendors as must-have vendors and nice-to-have vendors.
Okay,
So all of our must-haves are like a planner, of course, our DJ. We need a great catering team.
Mhm.
There's certain elements that we have to have in place in order to successfully execute a wedding day. But then there's also those nice-to-have vendors, and those are like your add-on items. So when you
Okay.
think of things like a photo booth, I'm like, oh, we can set up a DIY photo booth. We do backdrops all the time. You have a tripod. We can set up a phone. We can do a selfie station. We can do the Polaroid cameras, disposable cameras.
Yeah.
So I always like to provide alternative solutions for those vendors I do say we can do without if it came down to it. Also, vendors like coffee carts, for example. Super cute touch. Absolutely love them. As I mentioned, I'm not a coffee drinker, so that's probably why I also think this.
Yeah.
But I'm like, a lot of catering companies already include coffee as part of your package. So unless you want something to be super cutesy, it's like you don't necessarily have to add on that added expense.
Right.
So I truly believe that there's those extra vendors, so to say, where it's like, that's a nice to have, but it's not necessarily a make it or break it for your day.
Right.
Whereas people like a DJ, please hire the most professional person you know. A planner, please don't go with a friend or family member.
No.
Exactly.
No.
But some of the others, I'm like, okay, do we really need to have a classic car? Nice for photos, but you don't necessarily have to have it, especially if you're at a beautiful venue where you can capture those photos naturally in
Right.
other different places.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It's funny because sometimes at weddings, I think people become overly concerned with, like you said, those extra things. Like they're so worried about people being entertained and having something to do.
Yes.
And like I have done weddings where it's like a carnival. Like, no,
Literally.
it's like there's a caricature artist, there's mini donuts, there's the taco guy, there's 2 photo booths.
Yes.
The regular photo booth and the 360.
Oh,
like
geez.
it's like, and it's so much. And then they want to say like, but we really hope everybody just dances all night. And it's like, and immediately I'm like, just so you know, I'm competing with 5 and the bar. I'm competing with 6 different things that you've planned out for your guests. I was like, there's probably not gonna be a lot of dancing.
Exactly.
Like, even a photo booth is competitive.
Yes.
Like, if the photo booth can be more popular than the dance floor.
Yes.
So, I love the way you structured that, and that it's not that like you just need to go without, but I like the way you phrase that, the nice to haves, like the nice to have things, like, think about it.
Exactly.
Just, like, do I really need this? Yeah.
Exactly.
I love this question because we just went through it, and I know you just went through this because I went through it. What items are mandatory for summer or rainy days? We just went through a bunch of rainy days.
Yes.
Like, is there things, like, especially if somebody is, I think, what is November the rainy month? Is it?
Typically.
Okay, right? Okay.
Exactly.
So what are your suggestions? Because there was definitely a lot of people who just had a bunch of weddings that were maybe a little rainy or unexpected weather. What are your recommendations for that?
That's a great question. So I narrow it down to 3 essentials that I feel like can be super important, whether it's really hot outside or it's literally awful weather. First and foremost would be a tent, for sure.
Okay.
Because a tent, obviously it's going to bring shade if it's a hot day. And you better believe if you're in an outdoor venue, if it's really hot outside, people are looking to find any bit of shade that they can. Yeah. So that sometimes means 25 people standing under a tree. We're telling them, come sit down for the ceremony. But everyone is bundled under this tree because they're trying to get shade into the last minute. And I'm like, guys, no, we need you to sit down so that we can actually move forward. So a tent obviously it's going to work for sure for shading. But then, of course, for the rainy day, we need that extra covering for the outdoor venue.
Yeah.
It's absolutely essential. So it can work either which way. And it's very much so a nice to have, especially if it's going to be a cold day. You got to just go for it. And even if it's not rain and it is a cold day, it still helps prevent that extra wind, that extra cold. And it gives you a sense of security being underneath a covered space, so to say. So it's a really good element to have.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the second thing I typically recommend is umbrellas or parasols.
Okay.
It just so happens that May, our team worked, I want to say 9 weddings in May, and May is usually a very nice month. But this May 2025, it rained every single wedding, every single weekend, which none of us saw coming because it's just not standard. I mean, we live in California for a reason.
Yeah.
And one of the weddings, they had parasols because, of course, they're preparing for this really hot May day. We're ready for it, looking for 80-degree weather. And it wasn't that at all. It literally rained on our parade. But those parasols came in perfect handy because everyone whipped those bad boys out. So when it's time for people to sit outdoor in a ceremony, which they did not have the ceremony space covered, they only had the reception space covered, it worked out so perfectly. So thank goodness we had those in our back pocket to simply pull out and be actually prepared for what was taking place. Yeah. So whether it's heat and I'm trying to get that extra bit of shade, or it's cold and it's actually rain, it works out perfectly either which way. Now, the third thing, which is not a tangible item, but is truly the most important element that works in both, is a positive attitude.
Oh, wow.
And that sounds so cliche, but at the end of the day, an attitude of a bride and groom can truly make or break the wedding day. Yeah. And I mean, I learned from personal experience, especially this past May, I had some of my brides that were literally out dancing in the rain. They didn't care that their hair was wet. They're getting these great photos. They are just enjoying it, going with the flow. And I also had a bride that was the exact opposite, where as soon as she saw rain become on the forecast, her whole personality changed. Everything just went left. Everything was a problem. So not only did she feel like that before the wedding day, it translated into every single thing that happened on the wedding day, where it's like, oh my gosh, my dress is going to get wet and my dress is going to get dirty. And wait a minute, my hair is going to get frizzy. And all of these things that none of us can control just so happen to be on the forefront of her mind. So not only is she verbally expressing this, but you can very much so see by the attitude, the demeanor, the way that she's talking and snapping on people. It just turned out to be not quite the day that she was expecting. And our motto is, we don't care what the weather is like. We're going to dance in the rain. We're going to give it 100% regardless. But if you don't have the positive attitude, it will completely go left. And same thing for heat, because we've also worked July weddings where we're literally outdoor, 110 degree weather. I'm sweating from start to finish. Guests are walking in with attitudes where they're literally looking like, where's their shade and where's their water? And I'm looking like, wait, I've been here for the last 6 hours setting up. Just relax. Everything's cool. Keep calm. But that attitude can truly make or break the whole tempo of the entire day. So that to me is more important, more critical than the tangible items, because yes, it's like, enjoy your day no matter what. And you know what they say. I don't like to tell brides this when their day is raining or it's raining on their parade, but rain is good luck. That's what it all comes down to, which of course, no bride I'm sure wants to hear that on their wedding day. But at the end of the day, if it is pouring and it's raining bullets, it's like, well, guys, you must be in for a really good marriage.
That saying I think stands true, and it's funny. Because the outdoor wedding I had where it rained, when they said "I do," a rainbow appeared.
Wow,
no joke,
beautiful.
Like actually, that actually happened. They said "I do," and behind them a rainbow. Everyone said, "Oh, a rainbow!"
Yes,
I was like, "What?" And I'm looking, I'm like, "It's a rainbow." As they said, "I do," and I was like, "Well, you wouldn't get that if it wasn't raining." So, it's what I'm thinking as you're talking about this is that we're talking about extreme heat or rainy day. But what's funny is, what you said is so important is just, even for perfect day weather, indoor events, indoor outdoor events, like sometimes people let the smallest thing, like, I mean, you saying that, like, it's not tangible. It's like, you caught me off guard because I was like, oh yeah, that's, having a positive attitude. I think regardless is so important. Like, because people get, they get upset, and like, they'll get, like, if they do a room preview and like the napkins aren't folded the way I wanted. And it's like, it's like, don't these small things like,
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
there's people where even minor things like, and it just changes the whole day.
Yes. And you know what's funny about that is I learned personally from firsthand experience from my own wedding because I was a control freak and I planned most of my wedding. We intentionally did an indoor venue. We were getting married in May. People thought that I was crazy. They're like, Shanee, it's going to be good weather. I was like, that's the last thing I want to worry about on my wedding day.
Yeah.
Should things go left, I don't want to have to worry about that. Mind you, it didn't happen until like 9 years later where we got all the rain in May. Our wedding day was perfect. But on the day of, I'm looking at all these small things. I was like, oh, the coordinator was supposed to do that. Coordinator was supposed to do this. And my husband just had to stop me in my own tracks and say, Shanee, no one knows that's supposed to happen. No one knows that it's supposed to go there. No one but you and I and the coordinator, she's supposed to know, but it's just us. Yeah. So just sitting on that thought alone to say, it's only you that knows.
Only you.
Like literally only you. Your 175 guests are not going to look at you and say, why is the fork on the left instead of the right? Like no one cares.
Right.
No one cares. So it was such a good slap in the face on my own wedding day when I had to exercise it finally on my own, where I was like, oh, you're kind of right. This is making sense. You're right. We're walking away with a marriage, and that's what matters most.
Yeah, we just had our 10-year vow renewal, and then there's so many things because I planned it like 95% of it, and there were so many things I was worried about, and being on the other side of it is just so weird. And then so many things just didn't that I was stressed and worried about just didn't. At the end of the day, didn't matter. Like I didn't even notice. I didn't even look. It's like I got to look at the photos and the video from after, just to like, just as like
what happened.
Yeah. It's so I totally like the attitude thing is like
everything.
It's everything. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's go into this. What are your tips for people making the wedding like them/theirs? Instead of having like a cookie cutter wedding, because right now, what I've seen in the last couple of years, I think it's the newer generation is, a lot of people are going that way, but when you're helping people plan and they're saying like, oh, we want it to feel like us, like what suggestions do you have for that? For like making it not just like ceremony, cocktail hour, dinner, like that's what I would consider very cookie cutter. When people say, Shanee, help us make it us, like what kind of tips do you have for that?
Well, first and foremost, your venue selection does matter. So I'm not personally, don't get me wrong, I work at all types of venues, love working at everyone. They're all very unique in their own way. But I try to steer away from places like hotels, golf courses, places that are very much so, oh, you have 2 color linen choices. You have to use our tables. You have to use our chairs. These are our 2 layout options, because that does make you feel very much so cookie cutter-ish. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I always say start with the venue selection. And I know that it's really intimidating for couples when they go to a DIY venue and they're looking like, wait a minute, so I'm supposed to bring in everything? I'm supposed to rent tables and rent chairs and rent linen. If you have a great coordinator or planner on your hands, you're fine. Everything's going to be fine. It's not as intimidating as it looks. You can absolutely customize it and make it your own.
Right.
So that's first and foremost. I'm like, please, please, please choose your venue wisely. Secondly, one thing that I feel like a lot of couples do that I don't always necessarily agree with, I love aesthetics. Yes, but I'm the planner for my company. I'm not the designer. I have designers for a very specific reason.
Yes.
Because I love logistics. I love details. I love flow. They love making it fluffy, making it pretty. But at the end of the day, a lot of people do not remember all of the decor. So people are behind the scenes spending hundreds on centerpieces and they're spending hundreds on each tablescape. And if it works for you, go ahead, let it float your boat. But if you think back to the last wedding that you actually attended as a guest, it's like, okay, what were their centerpieces? More than likely you have no idea. What color were their napkins again? Can't quite remember. Okay, what signs did I see around? You have no idea. That's because none of that actually mattered to them. Yeah. So it's people are focusing on this beautiful aesthetic, which I get because, of course, who doesn't want their wedding to be beautiful? But at the end of the day, that's not the most important element. So what I like to do is bring in small customizable items that are truly going to stick with people long beyond the wedding day. Now, an example of this is I've had a couple of brides and grooms who have actually written handwritten notes
Yes.
to their couples, and they've greeted them with them and or have had them on their table waiting for them.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you the reactions that I see, people are in tears. They're just like, oh my God, they took time to write this. It's nothing typed up. It's no chat GPT.
Yeah,
it's like, here it is. This is like, I'm writing my own personal thank you to you. That blows people's minds. I'm seeing them literally sitting there taking selfies with their little letters in their hand because they just feel so special.
Right.
Now, something else that I saw that I absolutely loved was one of my couples. She actually did a seating chart that instead of having people's names, she had a photo of everyone that was supposed to be sitting at the table. It was the cutest thing ever. She even had a vendor table. So it's showing our team's face, the DJ's face, the bartender's face.
Yeah.
But essentially you're walking up to this board and you're like, oh my gosh, here I am. Here's me and my husband. People were not expecting that. They weren't prepared for that. And that's something to this day that will always stick with me. You ask me about this 50 years from now, I guarantee that I won't forget it, yet alone someone that was actually a guest at the wedding.
Yeah.
So that just meant so much to so many people. Something else that I recently saw is a love that came before us table, where essentially they're showing like their parents and the grandparents or just any people that are there even that have been married before them. Because again, it's that added element that you're not quite expecting.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you're on the table because you're happily married or you're not, it's still one of those things like, wait a minute, those are my parents right there. Look at my cousins right there. So it's all of these small customizable touches. It's not going to be a $500 tablescape. It's literally going to be okay, this sign costs $50 to make now that I'm doing photos instead of text. Yeah. But it's a very small, unique things. Even cocktail napkins that have fun facts about the couples is something that I really enjoy. Because I catch myself, oh my gosh, they went to Italy on their 2nd year anniversary. And oh my goodness, they met at a coffee shop. But it's those things that I can never personally forget. And I've worked, as I mentioned, hundreds of weddings, but it's those weddings that I won't personally forget, yet alone the guest that's actually seeing these things and experiencing these things. Love them.
Yeah. I just saw like that table that you're talking about, the whatever, the love before us.
Yes.
And it's funny because I'm just so like used to these tables and all these things that I ignore them. I mean, I'm just a DJ. And I just ignore it. And then, but I walked by this table like 3-4 times. Yeah. And then I saw a couple and they're staring at it. And I'm like, but they didn't look like family. So I was like, in my mind, I'm just thinking memorial table.
Yes.
And then them standing there and like pointing and like taking pictures. I'm like, people don't take, like guests don't take pictures of the memorial table. Like,
exactly. Exactly.
I was like, what are they? So I went and looked and I realized there was way more pictures than in my mind, I had seen. There was like 20, and every couple that had gotten married before them up until that day, they went and found a picture of them.
Beautiful.
From their wedding day. And I was like, that's so much work, but I will remember it.
Yes.
And then at the end, all the couples got to take it home, the frame.
Oh, that's sweet.
So as they leave, they're allowed. They take it. I was blown away. So yeah, I love that. The way that you're suggesting to make it them or make it personal is not with stuff. It's more like bring in the memories, bring in your like tie people into your event to bring them like closer. Like, essentially like, versus making it about the aesthetics.
Exactly.
Focus on you and your people.
Yes. Yeah. Such a difference.
It does make a different experience. Yeah. It makes it more connected. I've seen that. I've seen the notes and everything you're saying. Those are the weddings that will like the things that people do that stick out in my mind.
Exactly.
Let's talk about it. You are based primarily, not that you can't go anywhere else, but Redlands.
Yes.
So Redlands, being in Redlands, I have not personally worked out there. I don't, maybe one venue, maybe. What venues are out there that like, in talking about this and how it's important for people to choose a venue that works for them. What venues out there are you familiar with that like you love or recommend?
Great question. I feel like the first venue that's like my go-to venue, it's one we have a really good connection and partnership with. It's called the Pond at Casey Orchards.
Okay.
And the reason why I love this space, it's an outdoor venue, but they do have a covered reception space. They have a beautiful pond, but it's the most personality-based venue that I've ever seen in Redlands. And the reason why I say this is because when you think from like photo op perspective, they have tons of orange groves that you can take photos within. They have palm trees in the backdrop, so it feels very California-like. They have mountains in the background, so it's like, ooh, I kind of feel like I'm in the mountains when I get certain angles. They have avocado bushes in the front where literally if you take photos there, it looks like you're in the middle of a forest. Wow. And then of course your backdrop to the ceremony itself is this big, beautiful pond with the waterfall. And it does have a little bit of a vintage twist. So what I really appreciate about it is that it already comes included with your farm style tables, as well as very cute chairs. And anyone who's rented farm style tables before knows that if you rent one of those bad boys, you're looking to pay anywhere from $80 to $140, depending upon. And that's not including delivery. That's not including setup. That's not including any of those. Exactly. Just a single table. So for that to come included, it's essentially like, oh, an upgrade is already coming included. But the bridal suite, it's kind of like a mini house, because I've been in some bridal suites that are very congested where I'm like, oh my gosh, the 12 girls are not going to fit in here for the life of me. Exactly. But this one has like 3 bedrooms in the bridal suite. You can take a shower in there. Yes, 3. It's insane. It is literally insane. I've walked in there before. I've seen a bridesmaid sleeping, one in the other room breastfeeding. And it's just like, it's working. The photographer's over here, videographer's over there. It has a full kitchen. So we have a full charcuterie set up, but it's like a mini house. And then of course the groom's room, which is right next door, slightly smaller, but still very fun. They have the putting green out in front of it. They have some games inside of it, but it still feels like you're in your own little world. So that's what I really appreciate about the pond. Now, it just so happens that right next door to the pond is another venue called the Grove. And even though they're literally right next door to one another, I mean, I work events there. People will pull in. We have wedding guests walk all the way up thinking they're at one venue. And they're looking at the names like, what wedding am I at? I say the name like, oh no, you must be going to the Grove. No, I'm supposed to come here. Can I see the invitation or give me the address? I'm like, yep, that's next door. That's how close they are. But essentially with the Grove, very similar to the pond in that it's all outdoors, very beautiful. So you have the mountains as the backdrop. You still have that pond element. You have a full indoor area where you typically do like your dance floor. This is where you typically put your caterer, but it's a very unique space in that you bring in everything yourself. So you bring in your own type of tables, your own type of chairs. It's one of those fully DIY venues that just works really well. And one thing that I love about them is they include a 14-hour rental, so you don't feel rushed. Yes, so it gives you venues.
People don't know this. It's like they don't know. Like I could go on and on about this. But this is why you hire a planner, because when you DIY your stuff and like you think you got a handle on it, and it's like you don't have a planner that's combing through your contracts and stuff like this, and like this information. This is why you pay for a planner, because this is like, because I've had it, I've worked, and then where like the couple is upset because they can't come, they can only come an hour before it starts, or and they're like whoa, but it's because they don't think to ask the questions that someone like you would ask. And just you bringing that, I'm sorry, it just not to digress,
please.
But like, you saying that, like, people don't understand how important that piece of information for, like 14 hours, most venues do not give you that.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Nope.
There's no way.
Nope.
You're not coming in. You might get 2 hours before ceremony. You're not getting 14 hours.
Not at all.
No way.
Yes. And what couples don't realize also is that when you do choose those venues that have the shorter times, now we're having to haul butt to get everything set up. Like literally hauling butt. I'm sometimes saying I have to add on extra team members, because I'm like, well, we got to get it set up. We got to get it set up. And I want, when everyone walks in, everything to be fully done. I don't want you to look like you're walking into my garage. I want you to walk in and be just mesmerized by the space and the beauty. So the rental time, I'm like, yes, you guys have time for hair. You have time for makeup. We have time for a good event. And then at the end of the night, we just haul butt and we clean up, which we're perfectly fine with, completely comfortable with. But I love this space because it is a fully blank slate and you can truly make it your own.
Make it you.
Exactly. So it's like bring in any and everything that you like. Now, my third favorite venue in Redlands, which I'm a little biased here because I also got married here, it's called the Mitten Building.
Okay.
And this is an indoor venue, but it's very vintage style. So you have the wooden floors. It's dark, it's moody, it's very just
like that.
elegant. Yes,
I like that.
yes. It kind of takes you back in time when you walk into the space. It has a very cute built-in bar. They have built-in catering packages, but I love the Mitten Building because what most people also don't realize is that a lot of outdoor venues, you have to shut them down at a certain time due to noise ordinances. Yes. And a lot of people don't realize that after. They're like, oh, can I add an hour on?
Nope.
Not on the back end.
Not even a chance.
You can add it on the front end, but not the back end.
We're done.
Exactly. And that's what I appreciate about the Mitten, because you can run an event there to, I believe it's 1 a.m., which is like plenty of time for all of my people that say, Shanee, I want some time to party. But not only that, it's right in downtown Redlands. So if you do have that crowd that wants an after party, it's steps away. It is literally steps away. It's literally every time we work there, it's people, all right, are we going to this bar? Are we going to that bar? Then I'm over there giving them recommendations. Well, you got to go to both of the bars because this one's going to have the better drinks. That one's going to have the better atmosphere. Yeah. So you need to just make it a whole little thing, so to say. Yeah. So I love the location of it because it's just so centralized. It's indoor, gives you more space and time, but then also the after party is right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly.
I love that. I love that. No, I have not been to any of those venues, but they all sound amazing. I like, being able to fully customize, have all that time at the Grove, like the 14 hours. That's like, there's a lot in just that. Cause a lot of times, there's been times where as a DJ, like they're like, you can only get there an hour before. And I'm like, so I had to set up a ceremony and that's like, it's like 500 feet away and main reception. And I'm like that. And it comes down to the same thing. Now I have to bring somebody.
Yes.
Because we have to be setting up at the same time. Otherwise it'll never get done.
Yes.
And we won't have that seamless transition. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The more time, the better. I love it when someone says you can get there anytime you want. Yeah. And I'm like,
music to my soul. It's like, talk to me.
Zero stress for setup.
Exactly. And what I just gathered from that also was that now I got to get you out to some Redlands venues. I'm like, I got to pull you to the dark side.
I'll never come back to any other one.
Exactly.
Let's do this. What do couples forget or don't budget for that hurts them, or maybe they regret later? Like, lately a big topic that I've seen going around is like, do I need videography or not? Or like, or this or that, or do I need this, or do I have to have this? Are there things that couples don't budget for or skip out on where you as a planner are like, you really should have this XYZ? Like,
so that's a great question. I do feel like couples, for some odd reason, I have no idea why this became a thing, but they underestimate the power and force of a videographer. And they always ask me, Shanee, should I get a videographer? And I personally, me and my husband, we watch our wedding video every single anniversary like clockwork. So it's just a thing. And if you think about it, when I first got married, we only had our first daughter. She was only 4 years old. So she remembers some of it, but doesn't fully remember. She's 14 now. And our other kids were nowhere to be found, nowhere to be thought of. Right. So it's like, had I not had this video, they would have never been able to see mommy and daddy get married. So even though it feels like an expense in the moment, it's truly one of those things you have to ask yourself. When I look back in the future, will I ever want to rewatch this exact moment? Because yes, your guests can very well easily have their phones out, be getting whatever angles, whatever pieces and portions, but will that mean you're able to hear your vows again? Not necessarily. Will that mean you're able to see yourself fully walk down the aisle? Maybe if someone got a long enough clip in the right angle, but it doesn't mean that you get to document that moment and actually look back on it. So I feel like that's one thing, for some odd reason, people just underestimate the power and of the videographer. No idea why, but it happens. Now, aside from that, one thing that I learned personally from my own experience is dress alterations. For women, dress alterations, like you get your dress and you've already paid your thousands of dollars for it. So you think, okay, I'm good. I'm going to go in. It should fit because I'm getting fitted for it now. But if you're anything like me, you're also shedding for the wedding and you're trying to get it right before we get it tight. Exactly. But then when you have that dress, I was like, oh my God. So this is now $400 that I need to pay like 2 weeks before the wedding. And I had no idea that this expense was coming. That was a big deal at the time, especially because it was just the two of us that paid for the wedding, no outside help. That was a huge deal. I was like, why did anyone not tell me this? Like no one at all tell me this. And it can really add up. And I feel like a more simplistic dress. So I can only imagine when you have like the lace dress or something that's a little bit more elaborate. Now you are paying behind the scenes and you just didn't necessarily think about it. Yeah. One other item, which is like, it's not necessarily a must have, but I do believe that it's always nice to have our vendor tips. People ask me all the time, Shanee, should I tip the vendors? Should I tip the vendors? I don't have any sort of politically correct answer, but I always explain it to people like this. When you go out to a restaurant and you pay for your food, you did exactly what you were supposed to do. You paid for your food and you could technically walk out of the restaurant. But more than likely, you're going to leave a tip because you know they did a good job and they had good service. I say, look at your wedding vendors the same exact way. Like it shouldn't be this thing that we're thinking about and we're stressing over and we're obsessing over and should I, and what about this one versus that one? It's literally, did they do a good job? Yes. Did they make your day amazing? Yes. Yeah. Well, then you tip. And it's kind of like the difference between going to Chili's and going to Fleming's, right? If you go to Chili's and your bill is $50, you may tip one amount. But if you go to Fleming's and you have a $500 bill, you tip a different amount because it's a different level of service. Right. It's a very easy thought, but I feel like so many couples get so lost in a, should I? And I'm like, listen, vendors, as long as they're paid, we're fine. You've checked our box. Yeah. But at the end of the day, just look at it as the same as a restaurant service. You don't have to tip anyone, but you typically do because they did a good service. So go with that, budget for it, and move forward.
Yeah. No, it's funny. So I want to ask you this. And yes. This, I know you weren't necessarily expecting this question, but let me give my answer first. Okay. So for people, if they're watching this, I want to tell you, as a DJ, for me, people always ask like, well, how much should we tip? Or like, they'll tip me and they'll be like, is that enough? And I'm like, hey, it's, and it's weird because sometimes it's a lot and I'm like, oh, this is fine. You know? And then and I would never tell somebody like, oh, it's not enough. Exactly. But what I can, and I'm curious as far as you getting tipped, but for me, what I tell people is, even $20, $25 and a thank you card, it's like, it's nice. Exactly. And I say that because not everybody has a lot of money at the end or to tip, but even 20, like if $20, $25 and a thank you card. But typically my tips will range anywhere from 25 and the most I've ever gotten is 500. So, but all that to say is it's not like going to a restaurant. Like I don't expect 20% or 10%. Like, but I would say on average, the tips that I get are $50 to $100. Like just like a, regardless of what I'm charging for that wedding, whether it's a $2,000 or $2,500 or $1,700 or $1,500, it's not based on how much they spent. I'm curious, just for you, like what's the range of tips that are good for you as a planner? Like, so people, if they hire you, exactly, they know like, okay, this is fair. Exactly. I think I'm very similar to you and that I'm also not expecting it. And you'd be surprised of how many weddings we work where I'm issuing the tips on the couple's behalf in sealed envelopes. Always. Yeah, you do that. And there's not one for the planner. Oh. Yes. That's rough. That's a very, it's more, I bet you weren't expecting me to say that. I bet you weren't expecting that. But when I tell you that's a thing and I'm like, oh, I don't know how to take this. And mind you, they're very grateful at the end of the night. Oh my God, Shanee, you and your team did such an amazing job and blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, oh, okay. Well, let me, okay. And exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Because I'm like, wait, the ice delivery got a tip and the planner that I've been working with for months. Yes. All 10 of them. Yes. So that's when I'm like, oh, that hurts a little bit. But in terms of tips, I feel like the average tips that we normally see, because most weddings that we work, depending upon the size, it's a 2-man team. Unless you add on our bartending services, which we have, or our service team, which we have as well. Most weddings in general is a 2-man team. Our tips typically range anywhere from about $100 to our highest tip being $2,000. And that was for one of my full planning couples. And at the end of it, they literally looked at me and said, Shanee,
you need to raise your prices. And for that, we're going to give you this tip.
More.
Yes, because they understood the value. I was not expecting that at all. And we always share tips equally. And when I get a smaller tip, I'll actually just give it to my team and I won't even take anything from them. Like, oh, it's fine. You guys, please take some extra gas money, go grab a drink later, or whatever the case may be. But it's one of those things, as you mentioned, it's a nice gesture. Now, one thing that always warms my heart, I feel like more than a tip, not going to lie, is a review.
Okay.
A review, that is where it's at for me because that's something that lasts forever. The tip, I'll have that in my gas tank the next day. I've moved on with life. We're done. We're gone. We're somewhere else. But that review, when people are reading, oh my God, Shanee, and I saw when you did this behind the scenes and someone said that you went and got, I'm like, oh my God, someone did say that. You're right. That to me is just like, it's golden. It's like handing me $1,000 gift card and saying, here, free reign, go.
Yeah, no, reviews are extremely helpful because
it
helps build confidence. It's really hard to get reviews.
Yes.
And I think a lot of vendors struggle with that. The really hard part about reviews is like how these review sites too will remove them saying they're not real or they're not recommended. So even as we as vendors build reviews, these sites will remove them or say they're not recommended or assume that they're fake. And it's usually the vendors like me and you who are doing a lot of volume. So they're like, there's no way.
Exactly.
Like I did 8 weddings in 8 days. I did a wedding every day. So imagine if all those people went and left a review, they would be like, this can't be real. Like,
who are you paying behind the scenes?
This guy's got bots. Like, so I don't even, I rarely ask people for reviews because I know it's just a whole thing, but getting those reviews helps combat that because, like the more reviews you get, then the more that stick. So and it's really hard.
It is
it's really hard. Even when you do a fantastic job, it's like, but it's just a time consuming thing, tedious thing. And some people don't use review sites or have accounts. So I get it, but I agree with you. Like a review or a nice comment, or even if they post it on their personal page.
Yes. Like, I'll take it. I'll screenshot it.
Yeah, I'll screenshot
literally.
it. Yeah, I'll take it.
Literally. No, I'm with you. And it's so sad because I used to be like that before having this business where I feel like most reviews, because even on Amazon, every time I go to a purchase, I'm reviewing everything. Okay, does it fit right? And how does it work for tall people? And I'm reading all in between all the lines. But a lot of people don't say anything unless it's something negative.
Yes.
And I'm like, these are all the negative reviews. And I'm like,
you don't have to ask for those.
Yes, exactly. But the positive ones, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I had to even retrain my own mind to say, okay, Shanee, they did a really good job. You better go back on and you leave them a review. Yes, but it takes like a full mindset shift to say, it can literally take you 30 seconds. I don't even care if you just put the stars and keep life moving. Give me my 30 seconds so we can move on.
5 stars.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
No, I agree 100%. Yeah, reviews are tough.
Yes.
Let's talk about timeline. You've mentioned a lot of things, and some of it, could be considered timeline related. But what do you find on the timeline? Like things that derail things. I have one, but I'm curious what you think derails timelines.
I've had a few of my couples that have given me pushback on the timelines because I typically create the timeline and then I'll share that with all of the vendors ahead of time to see if they have any objections. Photographer may say, hey, Shanee, I need more time here. DJ may say, hey, I don't know if they did it. Fine, let's talk through it. Let's work it all out together. But sometimes there's couples that are like, no, we only need 10 minutes for this, or we only need 30 minutes. And it was just recently, exactly, where I always plan for cocktail hour to be exactly that, an hour.
Yeah.
And then I typically build in a little bit of fluff time afterwards, just in case we have to bustle a dress. The bride wants to go freshen up because of course they're not thinking about these things. They're thinking, let me go straight from photos inside. It's like, girl, you'll probably have to use the restroom when you're not counting for that. So I'll build in that little bit of extra buffer time. So many people give me pushback on that buffer time. Like, no, we can get it done by then. Okay, 2 things I don't want to do. I never want to rush your photo and video team for one. And secondly, I'd rather us be ahead of timeline and kind of reverse engineer than be behind where now we're like having to rush. Yeah. So I'm just like, all you have to do is trust me. But there's these small filler moments where I know this is when my bride wants to just go kick back in the bridal suite for a second. We'll bring you guys some appetizers. We'll bring you some drinks. You can freshen up. I'll come grab you for grand entrance. But I like building that buffer time. And some of my couples aren't having it. They're like, no, we want to hurry up and get to the party. And then on the day of, they're like, oh, Shanee, I do need to use a restroom. Oh, I do need to bustle a dress. And I didn't tell you that it's 17 buttons back here. And I'm like, okay, 17, you know how long this is going to take me? Because every single dress bustling is completely different. So that is my biggest thing on the timeline is if you want your dress bustled, I need to know where it's happening in the timeline and I need to build in the time for that. And you better tell me because if not, like my 17 one, it took us about 30 minutes to do it. And I'm asking, hey, did someone get a video there? Because I always suggest getting a video, please. Yes, they're all different. I even know that. Yes, literally. They're all so different. It's not a one bustle fits all type of thing. They had nothing. So I'm like, okay, this is just going to take us a minute. So I'm on one side, my assistant's on the other side, maid of honor's in the middle, thinking that she remembers and she's, had 1 drinks too many. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if only I would have known that this was going to take place. So it's bustling of the dress that people don't factor in. And also that little bit of fluff time that I like to build in, even for something like sunset photos. I like to build that into your timeline. You're not thinking about that. You're thinking, I just want to go straight to dancing. That's fine. The guests can go to dancing, but I want you, the photographer wants you, to take that moment. So just trust the planner when they say this moment will probably happen and you'll probably want it and or need it. Just go with it. Trust me, believe me. I'm not trying to take away from your dance time. All I'm trying to do is be realistic based on my experience and what I've seen in the past.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's absolutely related and it's so close. It's my nightmare on a timeline is when I see a timeline and it's like dinner, like 7 to 8, 8 o'clock speeches start. And but then in that same thing, it says dress change. And it's just like, did you guys think this, there needs to be 15 to 20 minutes here.
Yes.
Like, this is not accurate.
Yes.
And I will point it out immediately. Like,
yes.
Like, exactly what you're saying. They're not allowing the time. It's like, it's not a 0-minute thing. We can't, it's like,
exactly.
End of dinner, 8, bride, and then a little note, bride changes dress, 8 o'clock speeches start. It's like, no. Like, and especially the cultural weddings where they have 2 or 3 dress changes.
Yes.
We need 45 minutes. We need 15 to 20 minutes for each one. Exactly. And like, what people don't understand is just like you said, all these complications that happen, like, no, you don't get it. You're going to want to take it off. You're going to want to change. You're going to want to touch up.
Yes.
You're going to want to do all this stuff. It is not a 0-minute thing. Nope. I get so frustrated when I see a timeline. And now what's funny is I'm understanding from you is that it's which I've never had this conversation before, is that it's not always the planner's fault because they're pushing back.
Exactly.
That's what I'm learning right now.
Exactly.
You're telling them, hey, like for this, you need to, like, you're going to have to do X, Y, Z. And then so that's good for me to learn in this. I always learn so much. And it's just crazy because I'm like, I get so mad and I will immediately start pointing it out before the wedding even starts. Like, you guys know we don't have 2 hours of dancing. We have 1 hour and 15 because you didn't.
Yes.
Because we have 3 dress changes. That's 45 minutes.
Yes.
Guys. They go, no, it'll be fast. No, because when the bride walks out, 10 people stop her.
Yes.
She gets stopped in the hallway.
Yes. You know.
She goes to the thing, she comes out, people stop her.
Yes.
They want to take selfies.
Yes.
Just that alone is 10 minutes.
Literally.
Just trying to get to and from.
Literally. And then I'm walking behind them trying to play security to try to stop the conversation and to try to keep it moving.
Guys, we got
it's like, oh, this person's leaving. Okay, well, you have to say bye to grandma. Okay, well, okay, well, I guess you have to address this. Oh, now your kid is crying as a bride. Okay, well, okay, you got to calm the kid down. Yes.
I don't mind dress changes, but just like you said, like you got to allow the time.
Exactly.
You got to allow the time.
Exactly.
Okay. This is an interesting one for you from your side. At what point should couples stop making changes? I knew I was going to get that side.
That's a good question. It depends on what they're making changes to. I will say the changes that stresses me out the most is going to be seating chart changes. That will drive me crazy because at the 30-day mark, when they give all the final counts to the caterer and to the vendor, and now we've updated the number of centerpieces we need because we have a certain amount of tables and the chairs and so on and so forth, it needs to stop. It needs to stop right there. I don't care who you're trying to add, who you're trying to remove. We just need to stop. And unfortunately, that's not what happens. So then I end up getting 10 different seating charts and I'm trying to figure out, do I have the most recent version?
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to go back to my original notes. Okay, do we need this 8th table? Do we not need it? Because it looks like 4 people were removed yesterday, but then 3 people were added today. And now one person, no, we asked for a final guest count for a reason, because it's your final guest count. Now I totally get someone may get sick on your wedding day and they can't come, or someone may have to work at the last minute. Fine, leave them on the seating chart, leave them, just leave everything. Because what you're not going to do is drive yourself crazy going back to your template and redoing it every single time. Yes, and I've had so many couples do that where I'm like, girl, when are we just gonna stop?
When are we gonna call?
Like, it's 2 days before and you're sending me another updated seating chart. Like, mind you, me and my team, we have conversations and meetings behind the scenes. I send them their paperwork so they can review everything ahead of time. So they're not just walking into a wedding saying, okay, what's today's couple's name and what time does it start and what vendors are we expecting? No, I want you to study this. I want us to ask questions and have a conversation ahead of time so that we're on the same page, because maybe you review the documents and you don't see something that I saw where it's like, wait a minute, Shanee, I see this, da-da-da-da-da. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Let me go back and ask the bride really quickly. So now that I've had these final meetings with my couples, then I'm going back and saying, you know what? Okay, ignore this version. Here, take this version now. And it just becomes a very confusing thing. So what people see as being not a big deal, it's actually very stressful for me and us behind the scenes. My goodness, it's the seating chart. It gets me every single time, like clockwork.
Yeah. What I heard in that though is like like kind of like 30 days out. 30 days out.
Yes.
We should be locked in and not making changes anymore.
Exactly. 30 days, call it a day. We are there. We're at the finish line. It's time to execute at that point. Nothing more, nothing less.
Is there now I think for the most part you do this. What are there any standout, like just in general, and there may not be, but are there any standout like red flags that you see in contracts, like from vendors for couples? Because what I really I want to reiterate this again is what you guys don't understand is where a planner, again back to the 14-hour thing, where a planner really comes in handy is reviewing your contracts, because you don't understand them and you're gonna miss stuff.
Yes.
So that's one thing that in talking to people, like I've talked to a lot of people and like, oh yeah, we didn't even look, we just signed.
Exactly.
What are some typical, like maybe anything like red flags that you will catch? And I think how long you have the venue is probably one of them.
Exactly. I think one of my biggest hot points personally is something that I actually had to experience, which was a pain point initially. So when I first started the company, as I mentioned, there was just 3 of us, which meant I was the team lead on every single wedding that we worked.
Yeah.
I did that for as long as I could before I realized, oh my God, I'm turning down so much business, because no, I can't be 2 places in one day. Right. And no, I can't do 2 weddings in one day. There's just no way humanly possible. No matter how great I think I am, it's just not happening. So then I realized I had to expand my team and I had to start training my other person to be a team lead. And it's like, okay, now we can do 2 weddings in one day. And we slowly but surely got to where we are now, where we can do 4 weddings in a day. But what that looks like behind the scenes sometimes with conversations, because I do every single consultation personally.
Okay.
And I do this intentionally because I want to make sure that we're a good fit for one another.
Absolutely.
So while someone's interviewing me, I'm also very much so interviewing you.
Yeah.
Because if I'm seeing tons of red flags and you're telling me and I'm type A and I will absolutely go off if this happens, and I have this huge, I want Beverly Hills and I have a Dollar Tree budget, and I'm like, okay. I can see where we won't connect. So I do every consultation, but after they book, I then determine who I'm going to pair them with. I typically try to take the majority of the weddings I can, but as I mentioned, I have 3 children behind the scenes. So we have sports on the weekends and everything. So I can't do every single wedding. Now, this was my biggest challenge, is that people are like, wait, but I fell in love with Shanee and I just want to work with Shanee. And I'm like, no, guys, my team is meticulous and we work off the same checklist and we have processes. Like, I could close my eyes and know exactly what my team member is doing at 8 p.m. That's just the way that we operate behind the scenes, because we are that meticulous with our process. But couples started to question that, where they're like, well, how is this person going to be? And are they going to be as cheerful as you? Are they as excited as you? Are they as detailed as you? So it became a problem when I'm booking weddings on my team members' behalf. Now, tying back to the whole contract situation is that when you look at a contract, in our contract, it says, if for some reason something happens to Shanee personally, anything at all, then I have another one of my experienced team members that's going to show up and absolutely execute your wedding day. There's no backing out. There's no me hiring an outside company. There's no sort of, oh, let me just give you your money back. No. So that to me is a huge advantage because I'm guaranteeing we're standing 10 toes down on the fact that one of us is going to show up. And the only time I've had to execute that in the past, or exercise that, is when I had my baby, where I'm like, oh, guys, cool, surprise, I need to go on maternity leave. So now I need to give you to one of my other team members. But had I not had my other team members, now I'm issuing all of these refunds. So although couples are looking for vendors where only that one person, they are married to that one person, tied to that one person, oftentimes that one person has a clause in their contract that says, well, hey, if something does happen to me and I can't show up that day, then I'm sending a replacement from another company, which you don't know their style. You don't know how they're going to compare to our process. You know nothing, or I'm just giving you your money back. And that's even more devastating. Because could you imagine a week before your wedding, if someone's like, oh, I caught COVID, which was a big thing back in the day. I need to give you your money back. What do you mean? Like, so you want me to go find a coordinator at the last minute because no.
Any vendor, it's
Yes. So what people saw is like, oh my God, this is so awful that it's not just you. I'm like, no, guys, this is a really good thing that it's not just me. But people don't catch that in contracts. It's saying, oh, and if I can't show up for some reason, you just get your money back. Bye.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that is a huge red flag because do you even want to put yourself in that mental stress? Don't get me wrong. Vendors that we refer, I'm like, oh no, I can speak confidently about them, but you don't know, life happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But essentially look for that clause in the contract to say, if in the event something does happen, what does that mean for me?
Yeah.
And people don't look for that clause enough.
Yeah.
They just don't.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I know that for me, I just signed all the contracts. Now I was working with preferred vendors that I work with all the time. So I wasn't like, I was
exactly.
Like, they're my friends, but I think it would be really important to at least, that's a great question for couples to ask. Like what happens if, and what you're saying is really important. Like, do you already have somebody, or would it be another person from your team, or would it be a third party, or would it be just a refund?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you ever, so I rarely get this, but it does happen. And it is like one of the most like, I don't know what to do things. Like, I know what I do. I just stay quiet.
Okay.
What can couples do to prevent like the stress and like the arguing? Like, so sometimes, I know this sounds weird. You wouldn't think so. I will be on the phone doing my music consultation, and I'll be like, hey, okay, so like you put this at TBD, and what were you guys thinking? And then one of them will say something, and then the other one will say, no, I thought we were gonna go with this, and then they start arguing, and I'm just quiet because I don't know, like, and then it depends on how long it goes on, but my go-to is I'll just say, hey guys, like, if you don't have to decide right now.
Yes.
You don't have to decide right now. Just send me an email, like, and let me know. But like couples in the last minute, within a week to 2 weeks, will argue about the music, and it's so interesting. But you as a planner are with them way before that happens. So, what are your recommendations to couples to prevent, those arguments or disagreements from happening? Do you have any advice for that?
First and foremost, I tell couples to start early. So even though I'm not a photographer, not a videographer, not a DJ, I'm putting their shot list on their mind right literally in our second email that we send them within 30 days of them booking. I'm putting their song list on their mind. Hey, don't forget to reach out to your DJ and see if there's any sort of list you need to fill out. Because what I'm telling them, and I also send over our document that's not due till 30 days prior, because I realize that a lot of those arguments come because you're cramming things into the last month, and now you have to do these final details meetings, and you have to fill out the forms, and now everything is like chaotic. No, I put it on your mind within 30 days of you booking with me. I will also remind you of these things in our venue walkthrough, because I'm telling you, hey, when you guys go out on date night and you hear your favorite song, just write it down. Just write it down.
Yeah.
Yes, but I'm telling people these things. So I'm essentially planting seeds for those two things in particular, your shot list and your music list, so that you can hopefully get ahead of those things. And then we also have a checklist behind the scenes talking about like the guest list. But essentially my thing is do it early. And I say that because by the time you come come to me in the final details meeting. Please work out all of the arguments ahead of time, as many as we possibly can. And when it does arise, I typically like to get a little bit involved. And what I mean by that is I like to always point out one pro and one con from each one of the sides.
Okay.
Because my thought and goal, yes, I try to just provide them a different perspective because maybe there's something you're not thinking about in this. You know what I'm saying? So even if it's something like a song choice, for example, oh, we really want to do the Temptations' My Girl. Okay, well, he wants to do this song. Okay. Oh, what do you think about doing My Girl maybe for the father-daughter dance? Because that can da-da-da-da-da. And then we go into this conversation. But I always like to try to point out one pro and one con from each side, and then I put it back on them. So even if they can't resolve the conflict within that conversation, I at least give them guidance and a little bit of food for thought that hopefully they didn't walk into the conversation having. Yeah. So it's like, talk about it, think about it. I've told you what may work, what may not work from each of your sides. Now you guys decide. And then I throw it right back to them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's funny the things that people will get caught up on, and I'm always like, oh, I was like, guys, like, you know, like it's like it's hard because like definitely, you know, fighting over a song choice, you know, and it's like, you know, we don't have to do this, like, you know, like we still have time. You could tell me the night before, it's fine, like, you know, just as long as you get something to me, exactly, like, we're okay. Exactly. You know. Yes. Let's talk about, which plays into that is, do you have advice for family pressure? Like when, like, I'm sure you had Momzilla all the time. All the time. Momzilla is like the most incredible, notorious person. Yes. In the wedding industry. It's like Godzilla on the cover and Momzilla right next to her. I will take Bridezilla over Momzilla. I agree. I will take Groomzilla over Momzilla. I agree. I totally agree. But that Momzilla is no joke. No joke. So I'm very much so my couples advocates. And I really like to tell my couples that I want them to get out of the day what they deserve for the day. Mm-hmm. So even when I start to see their thought process and their mind kind of detouring, oh, I don't want to play this kind of music because of grandma. I'm like, oh, no, I get it. You want to be respectful, but what do we think about playing the edited version? Or what do you think about changing this music maybe later in the night? But don't take away what you want because a certain person wants something else, or you feel like you're going to offend someone. One thing about a wedding day that I always stress to couples is that this is your one opportunity to bring all of your family and friends into your guys' relationship and your guys' personality. So we're not picking this type of food because mom only likes the really fancy food. We're not picking this vendor because mom's been best friends with this vendor since she was in high school. We're not doing that. This is your time and your one day to bring everyone into your world. So I will hit people. I've probably said this a million times by now. I will hit people with I've even told moms this in a very polite and respectful way. Hey, I call my company Your Day, Your Way for a reason. So I'm here to satisfy what the couple wants. And I'll also tell my couples behind the scenes, let me be your advocate. Let me be the bad guy. So if there's something that's going to happen, oh, no problem. I don't mind going up and say, oh, unfortunately, we can't do this. And this is the reason why. Yeah. I will go and do that in a heartbeat. I'm like, you don't even have to be the bad guy. I wear that hat. So please let me take on anything that you're not comfortable with addressing and let me talk to them. But essentially, this is your day, your way for a reason. Yeah. And I am always going to be behind my couples 1000%. I don't care if mom's footing the bill. I don't care if it's in mom's backyard. I don't care if I don't care. I literally do not care. Yeah. Yes. And it sounds so awful, but my couples appreciate it. Yeah. They appreciate it. Do I get sometimes a little bit of a side eye? I told you I'm very respectful in my delivery, but at the end of the day, as long as my couple is happy, that's when I know I did my job well. So I'm not going to please mom because mom is, oh, but we're the ones paying. Oh, great, mom. Glad that you guys are paying. So anyway, what did you want? Yeah, that was. Yes. You made that decision. Yes. You know, it shouldn't. Yes. It shouldn't come with all these ties. Exactly. And this is not a world of like moms redoing the weddings that they either never had or couldn't afford back then. That's what it is. Yes. And it's awful. I'm like, mom, if you want to do this, just do a 25-year vow renewal, 50-year vow renewal. Yeah. You do you. Yes. But do not bring that to my couple. don't bring that energy. And I'm the first one, as soon as I start to, even if I just see the slightest twitch of my bride's face during a walkthrough, my mom's like, we really need this. And I'm looking at my bride and I'm like, okay, well, how do you feel about it? Because I like to open up these conversations. And if there's something we need to address, then I stand behind my bride. So if my bride says, oh, well, mom, I didn't want it because X, Y, and Z, then I come behind it with a factual statement that proves the bride's point.
Yeah.
So that's one time where I'm not going to give you a pro and a con. I'm absolutely going to take my couple's point.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you some backup and some stats and whatever I can give you in that moment.
I tell couples the same thing. If like, and it's like it specifically to like the do not playlist.
Yeah.
And especially when they're like this and that, I don't ask them why. I don't care. I don't need to know. But then, sometimes then it becomes really clear. So then mom comes up and she's like, hey, can we play XYZ? And I can see there's a lot of the parents' friends. They're not, it's not even, they're not even friends with the couple. It's the parents' friends, like, for 3 or 4 tables just full of, and it's like, and then when I realized that's why they said it, because the mom's trying to turn it into her thing and her music for her friends. And I straight up tell the couple, this is how I handle the do not playlist. It doesn't matter if it's mom, dad, brother, best man. I don't care. Uncle, aunt. I don't care if it's the person that paid for the wedding.
Yes.
Just so you know, the way I handle the do not playlist is it is a no. And I said,
period.
People have gotten extremely aggressive with me and I don't care. It's like, until you guys, and I even tell them this, I said, until you guys physically, not just a wave, until you physically come up.
Exactly.
And tell me it's okay, I'm not playing it.
Exactly.
Because people have tricked me once, fool me once, but it has not happened again.
Exactly.
Because they'll be like, oh yeah, he said it's okay, and then the groom gives a wave and like he waves at him, and then they come up like, hey, why'd you play that? I was like, because this guy said you said it was your best man said you said you wanted it and you waved, and then that happened once, and so now I make couples.
I love that
you literally physically have to come up and tell me it's okay.
I love that.
Like, I'm not playing no games. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not today. No. Not today.
We've gone through a lot of these other questions I had for you because we've kind of covered them. Exactly. But this is a good one. What is the most efficient way to plan a wedding for couples who are extremely busy and overwhelmed? So couples that don't have a lot of time to be extremely involved with you. Is it very much like just email? Is it hands off? Is it like, do you just kind of like just start doing everything and then just kind of getting yeses and nos? What does that look like when like, because there are some very busy people out there.
Absolutely.
That they don't even like, their schedule is just business, exactly. Phone calls, traveling, whatever.
Exactly. That's a good question. So I typically suggest one of two things. Obviously, the first and most obvious response is to hire a full wedding planner, because with our base package, like event management or otherwise known as day of, it's like we're not doing all the twists and turns, but you hire a full planner because essentially you're paying for the peace of mind. You are paying for me and my team to do things like mail out your save the dates, mail out your envelopes, create your wedding website. I'm arranging transportation for you guys. I'm the one researching and setting up your hotel room block. I'm at all of your vendor meetings from start to finish. My designer is fully designing your wedding. She's sourcing all of the rentals. She's getting all the quotes for the florist. So that's going to be our most hands-on package, where you're almost looking at your wedding planning from a bird's eye view. You're looking down, you're telling me, yes, Shanee, I like this. No, I don't like this. Give me more options. Yep. How do I sign there? Super simple, super streamlined. Now, secondly, if for some odd reason they go the option of not hiring a planner, then the alternative, I would say, is to pick a venue that's more all-inclusive.
All-inclusive.
So somewhere like a Wedgwood venue or something similar, where it's like everything is included. Places like Wedgwood, it's like you get the tables, the chairs, the florist, you get the cake, you get the DJ, you get the food, you literally get every single thing. So it eliminates a lot of your thought work where you're really down to just those essentials. Oh, do I want to sign here? And do I want any sort of bubbles to blow at the end of the ceremony? But you're only down to those very small items that you could honestly, you want mom to do something, have mom pick the next 3 things, call it a day, insert mom here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that makes sense. No. Okay. Yeah. And I've heard those terms before. And it's like, I just want people to understand there are levels to planner is not a coordinator is not a planner, but a planner is also a coordinator, or will include coordination. And then there's event management and there's all these different things. So I think it's important to understand that if you are the type of person that just is overwhelmed, stressed out, doesn't have the time, busy life, busy business life, corporate life, whatever it is, that you'd be looking for, the term would be full wedding planning services.
Exactly. And one other note to make there is that I want to clear up a cliche that a lot of people believe, is that day of coordinators do not exist. Because I've had people that say, hey, Shanee, no, we literally just want you to show up on the day of. And that's when we want you to start the work and finish the work. And even with our base event management package, there's still necessary steps that we have to do ahead of time so we can successfully execute the wedding day.
It's not literally
but there's so many people that reach out. No. Oh, I get that you'll contact the vendors to confirm arrival times. And I totally get that you'll do a walkthrough and do a rehearsal, but we only want you for the day of. Here's the thing. No matter what goes right, what goes wrong on the day of, something goes wrong, they're looking right at that planner every single time. I don't care if it's catering that's doing something wrong. I don't care if the wrong song is called. I've literally had a DJ with 2 brides say Mr. and Mrs. I've seen the crazy things. Instead of looking at the DJ, they look at me. And I'm like, wait a minute. This literally had nothing to do with anything. Yes. So I'm like, the people that are out there that are literally thinking, oh, I can just hire someone to come in on the day of. That's not a coordinator. That's not a day of coordinator. Like the day of, there's still mandatory steps in order to successfully execute the day.
Absolutely.
Now there's some new people coming on the scene that are, trying to gain their experience, and they're just showing up on the day of, and it'll be very obvious to you, because you'll see that, oh, you have no idea. Exactly. They'll have all the questions.
Still gonna have to go to the bride
Where does
and groom.
The cake go? Where is the dessert stored? Where's the DJ supposed to set up?
Hey, the caterer is asking if anybody has any allergies.
Exactly.
Like, do you have anybody, and then it's
exactly.
Now you still have to micromanage.
Yes, absolutely.
You still have to micromanage.
Absolutely.
I know what your answer is going to be for this. What separates weddings that run smoothly versus not? Like what are the key things, the key elements that you would say?
I think there's 2 things. Obviously, I'm going to say you need a coordinator or a planner.
Number one.
That's just the obvious answer. So if you can't afford a planner, you go with the coordinator. If you feel like you want to do most of the planning, you still go with the coordinator, so you can eliminate that. But secondly, something that I feel like people underestimate is hiring professional vendors. We're not hiring our cousin to be the DJ, because I've literally had the cousin be the DJ. He's drunk all night, and I had to have my assistant stand by the DJ all night because we asked him to announce the grand entrance 14 times, and he's over here taking shots at the bar. That is the most irritating thing ever. Not only that, I've had people even hire a club DJ, which I tell people very specifically, wedding DJs, club DJs, 2 totally different DJs. Can you do both? Yes, if you're good at it.
If you're good.
But you can't be a club DJ and just come do your first wedding and think that you just know what to do. I've had to literally take the microphone and explain what a money dance is, because the DJ's like, well, I'm like, okay, time to announce the money dance. Okay, guys, it's time for the money dance. Oh, okay, you're supposed to call people up, and you're supposed to tell people like,
people go,
yes,
do we have pins? Do we have a sax? What are we doing?
Yes. And he's looking at me like, well, what is that? I'm like, oh, just to say, and I'm explaining to him what to say. He's still looking confused. I'm like, you don't know what I'm saying. It's like I'm talking a foreign language right now. Yes. So I've literally had those situations. Not only that, I've had the other cousin where literally he's playing the wrong song at grand entrance. And me and my team just went over, because we typically go over and we'd like to compare notes. You've worked with us personally. Like to compare notes. Hey, okay, you have these people in this order.
I love it.
Exactly. Let's just lock in.
Let's triple.
Yes. Because maybe they did tell you something that they didn't tell me.
All of it.
Yes.
Order.
Yes. Yes. And I'm having the DJ play the wrong song. So now instead of the couple walking in, I'm literally sprinting across the floor so that I can say, wait, wrong song, because you hired the cousin. So I completely get that weddings are expensive. I totally understand that you look to save money, that even sometimes you have these partnerships and relationships built behind the scenes. That does not mean that's supposed to be your wedding vendor. That does not mean that. So make sure you hire someone that's actually qualified to do the job. Because mom making enchiladas for 200 people, now they're cold. Did we get the chafing dishes? When were these created? My team can't serve them because what is the health code and how long have they been out of the oven? It becomes a whole thing. So instead of doing shortcuts, just hire the professionals. That is so important. Please hire the professional, especially when it comes to the DJ, because that's where I have the most trauma.
Yeah. No. You know, it's funny because like I know we're like in a bit of a downward trend with spending and like weddings and stuff, and so one of the new things that I'm going to be doing is so remember me for this is if you are gonna run your own music or have your cousin, I'm gonna have an MC only package.
Nice.
Moving forward.
Nice.
Into 2026.
Nice.
So that if they are, so instead of spending $2,000 on a wedding DJ, I'm going to have a very low MC only package because I don't have to worry about doing the sound for ceremony and having 2 setups and set up, tear down, load in, load out, all like people don't understand that's like 6 hours of time. So that's worked into the cost of the charge for the day.
Smart.
So you know, I'm at the point where I know people are going to be doing that. Still, they're still going to, it's not that they weren't doing it, but I think people are going to be doing that even more, trying to do the sound, DIY their sound. Because one of my most popular videos on TikTok is how to DIY a sound system.
Okay.
And how to create a playlist with ChatGPT.
Of course, it's the most popular.
10,000 bookmarks and shares. Like it every day I see more shares, more likes on those videos, and they're old videos. Wow. So people are still finding it. And it tells me that that's where we're headed. So, you know, that's why I'm going to start doing an MC only package. So have cousin Fred run the music and I will MC and I'll help make sure that he's going to play the right songs, but I'm not going to DJ, but I will MC the entire thing.
Smart.
So because that, like you said, you could hire a club DJ, but then you should probably hire an MC.
Yes.
Like if your friend is a great DJ,
yes,
fine. Have him come in. If he's a club DJ and he has experience playing music, he's going to probably crush it. But then just having him paired with an MC is going to be a totally different experience.
Exactly.
Totally different.
But that DIY, that makes my heart pound because I've had several couples before looking to save some change and they ask me, "Hey Shanee, well, can your team just hit play on the playlist?" Absolutely not. No. Because as I'm sending people down the aisle, I have my assistant that's back there with the bride,
like
making sure she has.
Yes.
Yes. And I can't do that. I've literally seen the cousins playing the playlist. One time the cell phone started ringing in the middle of the bride walking down the aisle because of course you didn't think to put it in any sort of airplane mode. Yes. The other time they couldn't figure out the sound system. They're coming to me. I'm sorry. I'm great at a lot of things. I'm not great at technology. I will never claim to be great at technology. So please don't put me on the spot because we're going to be in between a rock and a hard place. I don't know your equipment. I don't know this speaker. I know my JBL at home. That's the extent of what I know. But I've also seen there not being Wi-Fi and now we're not prepared for that. I'm like, oh, okay, you don't have a hotspot or you don't have anything else and they're looking, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. A DJ would know what to do. A DJ would come prepared. A DJ would have, yes, exactly. So there's still those instances where I'm like, oh, guys, please just don't do this to me. Don't do this to me because
never a guarantee anyway.
Yes. And then they always swing that head around when the phone starts ringing to the coordinator. I'm like, I literally want to just do this like it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
And if I get hired to go to a venue I've never been to, I absolutely tell them like anything must play. I have to download it.
Smart.
Because I've never been to your venue and I don't know what the Wi-Fi situation is. And then I also will tell like I can't guarantee requests. You know, I can take if you want to allow requests, I'll do what I can. But if the Wi-Fi is not there, I can't just pull up anything. And
exactly.
But yeah, it's a dangerous game to play.
Yes.
I have one more question for you to wrap this up. And it is if you could give any engaged couple a piece of advice before they start planning, what would it be?
I think the biggest piece of advice that I would give is that I'm a wedding planner. People hate it when I say things like this, where I'm like, don't focus on the decor and don't spend all these thousands on these caterers that are like $20,000. Remember what you're actually getting married for. So despite anything that you heard, anything that you see on TikTok, any rabbit holes you go down on Pinterest, you are there to walk away with the love of your life. This day is important. Yes. It's the start of your future. Yes. It is not the only thing that matters. Your marriage is so much more important than your wedding day itself. So do you want to be involved in the details? Yes, but don't get caught in the details. We're going through rabbit holes. Now we're arguing. Who cares? You want white, I want black, pick, move on.
Right.
What we're not going to do is end up divorced because we couldn't decide on the same color.
Right.
It's not that serious.
Yeah.
So I just say, keep what's important at the forefront of your mind through every decision, through every meeting, through every phone call, through the budgeting process, and especially on the day of. And as long as you're walking away with that person that you truly want for the rest of your life, you won.
Yeah.
None of this other stuff matters.
Yeah.
It really does not matter.
Right.
And that would be my piece of advice.
It's so important. And a lot of people that I work with in the wedding industry have the same opinion, and there's people who have been around for 22 years, 20 years. And it's like, we just see it. And we all know from the inside, like a lot of this stuff is just not going to matter.
Yes.
And, on the podcast previously, I had Pastor Stan, and I've been working with him for almost 10 years now.
Nice.
And he does all this marriage stuff. He has a marriage collective, and he does premarital counseling, and he's wonderful. And he had this slogan. He has this slogan that he pitched to me first before he even had it out. But and his thing is, you're ready for the wedding, but are you ready for the marriage?
That's it.
Because so many people are focused on the word wedding, and they don't focus on what you're saying.
Yes.
It's about, at the end of the day, it still should be about getting married. And I'm even gonna go so far as to say this is I don't even care what belief, religion. I don't care if you're atheist. I don't care if you what you believe in, Buddha. I don't.
Exactly.
It's still about two people joining their lives together, regardless of what you believe in.
Exactly.
Even if you're not making a covenant under God.
Yep.
And doing that.
Exactly.
Even if you're not.
Exactly.
It's still about, this is the person you're going to share your life with.
Yes.
Even if you're an atheist or agnostic or whatever it is, like it's still about you two.
Yes.
Like you can't deny that. Otherwise you wouldn't be having the wedding.
Hello.
If it wasn't about you two wanting to join your lives together with all your friends and family.
Exactly.
Whether it's for religious reasons or whatever beliefs you have or beliefs you don't have. It is.
Yes.
It's about the joining of two lives together, regardless of anything else. And I do think that a lot of people focus on the wedding and the party and the planning and the details. And then they lose the fact that, like, I'm getting to join my life with the person that I love for the rest of my life.
Exactly. I agree.
It's not even about religion. It's not. It's like,
nope.
It's like, focus on you two and what, like, just, I agree. Keep it in the back of your mind. This is, you're marrying the person you're going to spend your life with.
Exactly. And that's all that should be. That's all that matters.
And arguing about small things and stressing out and all that. It's not worth it. Making the best of the day. And that's I always tell people, I was like, no matter what happens, like, whatever mistakes, whatever things happen, like, just roll with it.
Yes.
You can't change it.
Exactly.
Once it happens, the mistake has happened.
Exactly.
So whatever it is. I love that. Let me do this. Let me ask you, through this entire conversation, is there anything on your mind that maybe I haven't asked or has drummed up some thoughts of anything that you want to share? Anything that you want to put out there or advice or anything, just anything at all? Any final thoughts? Like,
I think my most final thought is that I definitely know that times have changed. The economy has changed and everyone's in a situation that we really didn't see coming. Like, life is just expensive. That's what it all comes down to. Whether you have kids, you don't have kids, you own a house, you live in an apartment, everything is expensive to a lot of us. The only thing that I recommend people keeping on the forefront of their mind is that us professionals, we really do matter. So don't cut the wrong corners, because when you cut the wrong corner, you can only regret it after the fact. So don't cut the corner that you may want to cut because you're looking to save that $800 or you're not thinking about that $2,500. cutting corners can be so detrimental. There's a way to make any budget wedding happen without cutting corners. You don't have to have $20,000 catering. Everyone loves tacos, literally.
Yeah.
So common, so
That's what I did at
popular.
my
Yes.
It was $14 a
Yes.
person.
And
$14
hello, who does not love tacos? But
Everybody loved it.
it's not cutting a corner. It's not saying, hey, mom, I need you to cook for me
Yeah.
and bring all this food. No, we're not cutting that corner. We're still hiring a professional that's within our price range. So just be careful of the corners that you cut, because the one that you may cut just may be the one that makes everything go left.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that's great. Okay. Wow. That was a lot to process, a lot of great information. And, when I started this podcast, I was already, 16 years in of experience. And it's funny how humbling this experience has been. And
Mhm.
especially talking to professionals like you, because I never had the mindset that I know everything, but
Right.
like I thought I knew a lot.
Exactly.
And then I have these amazing conversations, and with professionals like you, and I like every episode. I learn so much more, and it's just an incredible experience. So I want to thank you for your time and for being here and sharing all this knowledge. And I know people are going to benefit from it. So that's always important to me. I would love for you one last time. So website, socials, whatever you have. Can we give those out one more time?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
absolutely. You can
So-
find us online at yourdayyourwaycoordinators.com. You can find us on Instagram at yourdayyourwaycoordinators, and you can find us on TikTok at yourdayyourway16. And I'm telling you, you guys will not be disappointed in the content that you see. Check out our blog on the website, check out our content, check out our team, and just get to know us personally. Because when I tell you we bring the experience to the party, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about if you go check any of those things out.
And I've seen it myself firsthand. A beautifully executed wedding with a lot of moving parts. We had this 16-piece band. We had like the coffee cart. We had all the things. And yeah, you did an incredible job. So highly recommend. Well, okay. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
We're going to put all those socials in the description. So wherever you guys are watching this, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, the iHeartRadio, this podcast is like all over the place. We just hope you guys subscribe, come back. And then also, if you can leave a comment and you want to know something more about your wedding day or have questions, we are happy to bring those people on and get those questions answered. So thank you guys for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. And Shanee, thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.